Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, a place where I interview tech leaders, CEOs, entrepreneurs, futurists, technologists, thought leaders, and even the occasional celebrity about how they are leveraging technology to transform their business. Today, I want to explore the worlds of supply chains, retail workforces, inventory management, and automation robotic trends. And I found the perfect guest for your listening pleasure. His name is Bill Burns, and he's the Chief Product and Solutions Officer at Zebra Technology, as they would say in the US, or here in the UK, Zebra Technologies. And I guarantee that everybody listening to this has encountered at least one of their devices in the last few weeks, possibly even days, without even realising it. So we're going to talk about all that, and we're also going to explore what the on-demand economy is, what does it take to be a successful business and leader in there, and also why reacting faster in an on-demand environment is no longer good enough, and how leaders in major industries such as retail, logistics, warehousing, healthcare, etc. can all better plan for what's coming up next. So buckle up and hold on tight, because no matter where you're listening in the world, I'm going to beam your ears all the way to New York, where Bill Burns is waiting to share his story. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, Neil, thanks for having me. I'm Bill Burns. I'm the Chief Product and Solutions Officer at Zebra Technologies. Zebra, as an organization, empowers enterprise business customers to support the on-demand economy. So think of it as high consumer expectations and business expectations of needing everything, instantaneously these days. And, our vision of what we call enterprise asset intelligence is to really make every frontline worker and every asset at the edge within business where productivity happens, visible, connected, and fully optimized. So think of real life examples of scanners at a store checkout. Our mobile computers are used to deliver packages through transportation logistics, carriers that deliver parcels to businesses and homes. Our printers are used to print wristbands for patients at hospitals, all around identification, automation, and digitization of our customer environments. 84% of the Fortune 500 customers or companies are customers of ours, but we've got large and small customers around the globe. We produce hardware, software, services, solutions that really focus on digitizing and automating our customer environments. And we allow supply chains to be more dynamic. We allow customers and patients to have a better experience, and we allow frontline workers that are serving the customers to be more engaged.
And I think you're one of those companies that are completely under most people's radar, but everybody listening, wherever they are in the world, would have encountered one of your devices somewhere during their day, and pretty much most days too, right? It's ubiquitous.
That's right. Yeah. So anytime you check out at a store and somebody uses a handheld scanner to scan your goods when you're leaving, anytime a order is picked in an e-commerce warehouse. So, think Amazon or think any of the retailers that are using our devices to pick those orders. Our printers are used to print labels for parcel delivery. And as I said, hospital wristbands and all those labels you see inside electronics. And we've recently invested in new areas that aren't quite as visible to the public in robotics and machine vision, and that allow inspection of electronic products as they're being brought to market, and in new software areas. So that enables retail associates to be able to engage more with either collaboration across the store associates, or think of it as communication between their management and employees.
And I'd love to find out more about how you got here. I mean, if I was to take you back in time, can you remember where your passion for tech came from, or the moment that had put you on the path you're on today, or ultimately, what's your origin story?
Yeah, I mean, early in my career, I was in sales, and, I saw the importance of really understanding, customer challenges and how technology could help serve those and solve those challenges within our customer environments. And then, once you solved it, once or twice for a customer, really understanding the value that one customer, got from your technology solution, but then how do you apply it to the next customer? How do you convince the next customer that ultimately that same solution could help them from a technology perspective? And, also learned early on that, the customer buyers are different, right? Inside, retail, you have different, personas. So you have the, IT buyer who ultimately wants a solution of technology that's easy to deploy and maintain. You've got, the store operations manager for a retail store that, ultimately their goal is to drive efficiency, right? Get the most out of their productivity of their workers. And somebody responsible for loss prevention is really looking at cost, right? To make sure they're not losing goods through theft or loss. HR is looking at, how do they close the labor gap these days, right? So each one of the buyers within the customer environment had a different value they saw in the technology solution. And if you could, solve their customers' biggest problems and also address the needs of the different buying personas within a customer, then you add a lot of value to the customer ultimately overall.
And one of the reasons that I invited you on the podcast today as well was to explore the on-demand economy. I think everybody listening will have heard so much about it over the last few years, but just to set the scene, and can you tell the listeners a little bit more about what it is and also what it takes to be a successful business and leader in this on-demand economy too?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when we say on-demand economy, it's this rising customer expectation of, consumers that, want everything delivered within, a day or 2 days. The increasing expectation that there's visibility of exactly where goods are within the supply chain, whether that's a consumer or a business. When is it going to arrive? When is it being produced? When is it being manufactured? Where is that along the way? And this increased expectation around goods and services being delivered very quickly and being delivered in a customized way is what businesses really are facing today. And the only way to solve that in an economical way to be effective and efficient in their business is to really digitize their environment and to be able to automate those tasks that ultimately can be done, those mundane tasks that employees could focus on the customer or the things that the exceptions along the way. So we think of it as, we're embracing, cutting edge solutions that make them more competitive in the environment. And then, the leaders in on-demand economy are really have the best information. They're collecting data by this idea of digitizing, giving things a digital voice, being able to know where inventory is, know where, how many sales associates are in the store and where are they and what's the best task for them to be doing at that time that has the most value. And taking data, turning that data into insights, but then ultimately action. Because if you take data and you analyze it and it tells you an answer, but you don't take the action, then you don't get the ultimate end result. So if you're in a retail store, I'll use a retail example again. If I tell you that the shelf is empty and there's no longer this type of product on the shelf, knowing that's not enough. You need to be able to drive an action within your business to go replenish the shelf so that you sell more of the item, right? If you don't take the action, then you don't get the business benefit. So it's not good enough in the environment we are today to be able to know what's happening and to be able to use data to get insights. It's about driving actions once you have those insights.
And I'm glad you said that, because I think a few years ago, the ethos was kind of, you've got to move quicker and you've got to evolve quicker than your competitors. And when I was doing a bit of research on you, I was reading how you think that reacting faster in an on-demand environment is just no longer good enough anymore. So can you expand on that?
Yeah, I think that, in the on-demand economy, this idea of consumer expectations being so high, and the simplest example again is same-day delivery or supply chain visibility, which is so difficult today. This constant technology evolution and being able to, for us, it's to continue to develop technologies faster with shorter product life cycles to be able to allow our customers to be more effective and more efficient. They can't just hire more people to meet this increased expectation. They have to be smarter in what they do and they have to be more efficient. And the way they become more efficient and effective is digitizing the environment, giving things a digital voice, and then automating so they can meet the needs today but also anticipate the demands of their customers moving forward. So using advanced planning techniques, using advanced, AI to be able to look at, demand planning and shaping, to be able to leverage things like robotics and machine vision within their environments that, can allow them to augment workers with technology to be able to address some of the labor shortages and the supply chain disruptions that they're seeing today. How do they just become more effective and more efficient? Because adding more labor to it and cost isn't the way to do it. That can't be the solution for the future.
And for any business leaders listening in multiple major industries out there, and by that I mean places like retail, logistics, warehousing, healthcare, etc., how can they plan better for what's going to be coming next?
I think a good example of that is, if you take labor planning as an example, right? Literally your workforce. And, many industries are realizing that labor's become increasingly difficult to come by. And, technology can be used to better engage employees, to accomplish strategic tasks and, create new ways to collaborate between employees or to, help retain, employees that have an expectation that technology being used inside business should be as easy as their, smartphone is today that they use in consumer life. And, if you have a more engaged employee, then ultimately you've got, retain that employee, you attract new employees and you have better, customer satisfaction overall. Inside, I'll go back to retail, customers don't want to wait in a checkout line. So if an associate can use the same device that they're using to collect inventory within the store, the same mobile device, but then they can walk up to a person standing in line and bust the queue, right? The idea that says, hey, I can check you out right here with your credit card on that same mobile device and allow that shopper's experience to not stand in line much longer. Then you have, an associate doing something different and engaging customers than just checking inventory, and you have a happy consumer. In the warehouse, there's a lot of, mundane, repetitive tasks like moving goods from one location to another. If you can marry robots and people together to get the job done in an automated way, then you enable the robot to do the repetitive, mundane, arduous tasks, but the employee to do the more, challenging tasks and then they became more engaged and more excited than, just taking goods from one location to another within a warehouse as an example. No one wants to do that all day. Robots can do that, but workers can deal with the exceptions in the picking process within a warehouse. So all of this is about engaging employees in a different way that allows them to, retain and attract employees within their environments. They're more efficient and more effective. They address customers better, and they can meet this on-demand economy and this continued pressure on their business.
And we will have some people listening that know or kind of know what they need to do and how they need to evolve, but it's the how that they struggle with. So are there any emerging technologies or techniques that you could recommend that organizations can use to have a more accurate picture of what's happening in their business right this minute?
Yeah, across all the key vertical markets we serve, we talked a lot about retail, but we do, our other vertical markets are manufacturing and transportation, logistics, healthcare, and government. And, the most successful business leaders really need information about, their workforce, their inventory, when suppliers are going to deliver product to them in real time. And, there's software solutions that, equip leaders and frontline workers with this data and insights we talked about before that allow them to, really ultimately have better understanding and insights around their business. So whether it's demand planning to be able to plan better for next season's inventory, or what's the workforce I need, or how many tractor trailers do I need to be able to transport goods from one location to another, whether it's the management of my inventory inside a manufacturer in a distribution center, or it's, managing my workforce. There's, hardware and software solutions today that, leverage software as a service, so software in the cloud that's, resident and then uses mobile device and technologies to provide this greater visibility within our customers' environments. And the more visibility you have, the more you can take that visibility, turn it into insights, and turn it into action. So think of it as businesses tracking product from all the way from production at the manufacturer through shipping into the warehouse, all the way to the retail store, and then finally to the end shopper, and be able to track that inventory all the way from the point of production all the way through the sale. That's a lot of visibility. And you can do that by scanning barcodes. You can do it through automated means like reading RFID tags. Businesses really need real-time visibility across the supply chain today. And it's been so challenging. Where's the product and how do I get that product to the consumer in the best way possible is really what businesses are focused on today.
And I think there's been another big realization over the last few years, and that is that digital transformation is essentially a journey rather than a destination. So if we take everything that we've talked about today, how does this help a business move forward with their digital transformation initiatives and keep evolving?
Yeah, I think that, when we look at it, we say, the digital transformation ultimately comes down to, how do I give things a digital voice and how do I continue to transform my business? And then what's the best technology to deploy around that to give me that visibility? And that, again, sometimes that's hardware-based solutions, sometimes that's software-based solutions, but it continues to really be around, innovation. And for us at Zebra, it's really quite honestly about continuing to innovate and to continue to listen to our customers, look at the market dynamics and develop advanced technologies to meet the needs of our customers.
And I'm going to put you on the spot here. It's a fairly big question, but what would you say are the essential ingredients or the magic sauce for a winning innovation strategy? Because I think a few years ago, innovation, it did go through a bit of a phase where nobody wanted to use the word. And it became a bit of a buzzword, but it seems to be coming back again. So what are the essential ingredients to winning that innovation strategy, would you say?
I think, for us, it's really about creating an environment that truly fosters integration, right? Is that, a lot of people talk about, inclusion and diversity, but I think we think about it as how do you apply a whole range of thinking across different stakeholders in the innovation process, whether that's customers or our smartest engineers or our global teams, to really get diverse views around what innovation really means. And that comes in the form of, technology advancements and how we can apply new advances in technologies to solve some of the customers' hardest problems. It comes from understanding market dynamics and really understanding the market in which you play within and what's the future of that market and where is it heading. Because if it's not really innovation, if you're just developing products and solutions that somebody else has, it's really about being on the forefront of that, seeing what's going to happen in the market and the advances in technologies that are coming so you can innovate ahead of the curve and innovate ahead of our competitors. And the way we do that is we do a lot of listening to our customers, right? Is to get the insights from our customers ultimately and really understand how their needs are changing moving forward, and then ultimately be able to apply those advances in technologies and the dynamics we're seeing in the market to be able to solve their hardest problem. And this is especially true when you're entering new markets, right? If you're entering new areas, you really have to do a lot of listening. You have to apply be able to see where the technology is going, not where it's at today. And you have to really look at the dynamics around the market and what those shifts are that's happening across those markets.
And if we look to the future, is there anything that excites you about the future of the on-demand economy? And equally, what kind of role do you see Zebra playing in that future?
Yeah, I think what excites me most is the future's here today, right? And while we're still in early days, in the past, we've looked at things and said, wow, that would be, too difficult to implement, or, things like, having full visibility across the supply chain, as I said, from manufacturing to point of sale, delivering items literally within a few hours, truly walking into a retail store and picking up items and walking out, literally having frictionless checkout that, things like machine vision and computer vision and software literally identifying the items that you've picked up and put in your basket and walked out with is truly amazing. So the future is here today, but it's still relatively early days. It'll continue to evolve. And Zebra's role is to, it's always really been to serve our customers within our key verticals. And I come back to this idea of digitizing and automating their environments is to make our customers or allow our customers to be more effective and more efficient each and every day, to be able to solve the challenges around labor, to be able to have more visibility across their business. And we talk about the idea of, taking the next best action within their business. Because as I said before, insights aren't good enough. It's really about action. And if we can drive workflows and help our customers improve their workflows through visibility, that's really where Zebra's focus is.
Now, none of us are able to achieve success in our career without a little help along the way. So I'm going to ask you now, is there a particular person that you might be grateful towards who helped you get where you are that we can give a bit of a shout out to today?
Yeah, Neil, I would say not necessarily a specific person, but I'll tell you that the thing I find very intriguing is I love to talk to people who ultimately started their own businesses, right? They take the risk of starting out on their own to be able to put, their finances at risk, and then they grow a business from nothing to something, right? And sometimes into very large businesses. So I think that, what intrigues me most, or the people that I find, the most exciting to talk to at times are, and I learn a lot from. So are all those people that are entrepreneurs out there that truly start a business from nothing and grow it into enterprises that are, ultimately very, very successful. I think those folks are risk takers. They're innovative. They're smart. They're, and they've done it, and no one quite appreciates all the challenges that they've faced along the way to growing that business. Everybody sees the success at the end, but boy, so I appreciate those folks more than anything else in my career.
Yeah, I completely echo everything that you just said. And for everyone listening, just like to find out more information about anything that we talked about today, could you tell me about where is the best starting point for all things, including contacting your team? I know there's that many different URLs and websites, and I would imagine you've got a very big website as well. So where would you point people towards?
Yeah, Neil, zebra.com is the first place I'd point to. Yeah. You can also find Zebra on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter. Also now on Instagram at Life at Zebra.
Awesome. Well, I'll add all those links to the show notes so people can find you nice and easy. I'd love chatting with you today about the on-demand economy, defining exactly what it is and why reacting faster is no longer good enough anymore. And also all that washed down with your incredibly inspiring story too, and your origin story. So just a big thank you for sitting down and sharing that with me today.
Thank you, Neil. Thanks for having me.
I think there were so many valuable takeaways in that conversation, such as what emerging technologies or techniques or a combination of the two that organisations can use to have a more accurate picture of exactly what's happening in their business right now, and learn how that helps them move forward with their digital transformation initiatives, and even a few of the ingredients to a winning innovation strategy. I know that every podcast you listen to will have a message from your host telling you to please leave a rating and review. But in a world where we're all ruled by algorithms, it really does help the show reach more listeners. So please, if you've enjoyed today's episode, please consider leaving us a review. But a big thank you for listening as always, and until next time, don't be a stranger.